Hello everyone and welcome to this bonus exercise for DaVinci Resolve for color users. My name is Ben Brownlee and we are going to be looking at the thorny issue of day for night today. So this is something that people are often requesting, and day for night really is one of those situations where there is no good one size fits all solution. There's quite a bit of footage that's actually quite unsuitable for day for night conversion, and other footage which, you know, there's limited stuff that you can do within the color grade, and a lot of stuff that really should be done in a compositor instead. But we'll take a look at a couple of things here. We've got our first shot here, which will forgive the little camera work the swinging camera work at the beginning, and we'll take a look at trying to get a feel for a more nighttime sort of shot here. Always a good place to start is to try to come in and reduce the contrast. So I like to use the curves for this. Let's gang these curves up, because as the night time comes in, it starts getting very limited what we can see in terms of contrast here. So I've got a very simple reduced contrast curve here, but obviously it flattens out the image a little bit too much. So I want to bring in a bit more of that sort of texture, or the tonality really. So even though we've got low contrast, there's still no excuse for not having, you know, different tonal ranges going on in there to sort of stop the shot looking flat. Okay, so now's the time to reduce the saturation a little bit, and we can just come in and take the overall saturation down just a tad there, and this will just help to smooth things out. But we can also go into the hue versus saturation custom curve here and actually focus on various hues that we want to take out. So here we can just take out some of the red to get rid of some of the saturation just in the skin, and also the green there with a bit of the yellow to try and take out some of the vegetation. All whilst leaving the other hues totally unaffected. So let's take a bit more out the vegetation there, which is probably going to be more in the yellows. So let's just check. Yeah, in the yellows it is. And so now we've created a lovely flat image. So before, after. All right, so once we've got our sort of flat shot there, then we can start to work a little bit further forward. And I'll create a new serial node here and give it a bit of color. Now obviously there's various ways of giving this this color here, but the general tonality we're looking for is towards the cooler areas. So for example, the blue here, which seems like a nice idea. You know, blue, but I also tend to enjoy taking things a little bit towards the green as well, especially in the shadows there. I'm not going to touch the highlights at the moment. So giving us a bit of blue and a bit of green just starts to signal that we're not in daytime anymore. In fact, green often signals a kind of dusk kind of mood. It's sort of an early night time. Cool. All right, so we've got our contrast, saturation, and general primary color sorted out. Now's the time that I want to start to go in and get a bit more specific here. I'm going to use a couple of qualifiers as well. And here's a nice little trick. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer node here. It's going to give me a different effect than if I added a parallel node, because what I'm going to do is it's created another couple of nodes for me. It's created a corrector node and then the mixer that I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed in the position we've got so far into this node that it's just created for me. And if I right click, I can just change my composite mode to something different. Maybe I want to go for maybe a multiply, or maybe an overlay here. So that's actually an interesting way of kind of deepening in all the colors really quickly without having to do too much hard work down here. So what I can also do is if I come to my window, turn this on, let's flip it out around the other way. Let's make that really soft. Popping in there. So let's just turn that on and off. So that's popping a bit more of the depth back in, but you know, but the problem with just using the window here to qualify it out is that it gives a very, very obvious transition from left to right. So we can always play around with our key here, thankfully. So check out what's going on in. So check out what's going on in this node here as I start to play around with the offset. So as I bring the offset down here, you can see that everything becomes more transparent. So the difference between the qualifier and the other image, or the rest of the image, is actually reduced. So it sort of smooths out that area there. So if I bring the offset back up, what it's doing is it's reducing really just reducing the opacity of the window. It's having the effect of reducing the transparent window there. So once I get that a little bit closer together, it's still applying a little bit too much there, or quite a lot too much. So at that point, I can go into my gain and start to bring that down and actually adjust the strength of that mix. So by playing with the offset and the gain here, we actually have a lot more control in how we get to blend these nodes together. Another thing we could do finally on this particular idea, if we come right to the beginning again and add a parallel node. And the reason that we're adding the parallel node here is because it's at that point where we actually want to look at the sky, and it's at that point there, right at the very beginning, that we'd have the best sort of contrast between the rest of the image and the sky. So you can see there it's going to be quite easy to pull a Luma key in the qualifier. So let's pop over to the qualifier here, pick the color, just turn the highlight on so we can actually see what's going on, and we can turn the hue and saturation bit off and just leave that in. We'll add a quick window, just isolate the sky even better. There we go. And turn the highlight off, and let's see what we can do. So we'll come just into our curves and we'll just reduce the highlights down a bit more. We don't want to go too far with this, because as soon as a single node starts becoming really obvious, then the the whole effect is ruined. Sometimes we actually do have a prime candidate for moving into a compositor, rather than actually trying to see what we can do in the color grade. But let's add another serial one just after here, give it another window, and we're just going to sort of add a little bit more shading just to the top. So a really soft window, a bit of color, a little bit there, and then we'll just come back, take the luminance down, a bit of the gamma there, just sort of blend that in a little bit more. Cool. So let's take a quick look. Let's actually soften that out a little bit further. If it's hitting too much of the actual characters, we can take that out later with another window and just subtract it from there. But for the moment, I think that's soft enough to work, and the character in the background is sort of it's working out fine there. I might, if I wanted to finesse it a little bit, just take out the head a little bit more there. But that's one way of doing it. It's getting us into quite an interesting little area. Let's make a new version now and see what we can find out here. So let's Day for Night 2. We'll base memory everything out there, and we'll go for a very, very different direction now, I think. We'll start off in the same sort of way. So we'll come into the custom curves. We'll take the contrast down and add a little bit of sort of internal contrast in there, and we'll take the saturation down as well, just a little bit. Should probably take the skin saturation down as well, but we'll see what's going on. So add a layer mixer, and on this time we're going to hit quite heavily blue on everything on the shadows. Going to lift the shadows up, hit the blue on the gamma as well. We'll leave the gain where it is. Again, use my composite mode over here, maybe a multiply, and that has the effect of bringing everything blue and a little bit darker than it was before. So darker and richer, and it's quite easy way of achieving it. And we can use the key on the gain here to mix that back in a little bit as well. It's a little bit too harsh. Cool. So let's start to build up a few vignettes here. Because one of the things that's really going to actually give us some problems is recreating that feeling of depth. And that's actually probably the trickiest thing in these day-to-night conversions is getting that realistic texture going on, because there really should be some source of light to be coming in and lighting these guys up. Otherwise, everything really would be completely dark. So whether that's something in nature, the idea, there's often a very powerful moon going around somewhere that's out of shot somewhere. That is the usual justification for it. And overcast days help us to sell that a little bit better. Let's add another serial node up here, and we'll come in with our qualifier. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a window and get a curve. Going on there. Okay. And then we'll darken everything down here. We'll take that really far down. And let's soften this out a lot. And we're going to track this through because we do have that camera movement at the beginning. Even though this is just a, it's a rough shot, it actually isn't going to be part of the final cut. But we'll pretend it is because it's a good idea just to show us the track. So remember to turn on the window controls there so we can see back in the tracker. And let's just track this forwards. And there's a whole load of detail there. Let's pop this back a little bit. There's a whole load of detail. Should actually be no trouble to track. You can see all of the really good and valid tracking points going on there. So that really is actually not a problem. It's ploughing through despite all the camera movement and all the shutter. And that's looking good. Cool. So we'll come back into colour now, have a little look through that. Yep, that all looks absolutely fine. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to add another serial node here and build up another couple of qualifiers. So we'll start with a circular, then we'll work our way through to another couple of shapes. Just again to give us that slight sort of feeling of depth as well. So we're just not relying on one big heavy vignette to power the entire effect. It's actually nicer just to get a number of different smaller effects building up one on top of each other to give the desired look. Before and after here. Might want to brighten him up a little bit. So let's come back to our shape there and we'll add just some more points around him. I find the most successful day for night shots are the ones where it's been planned for them to be day for night. So there is some additional lighting going on that so you don't have to recreate the lighting in the grade, which is actually generally really what we're doing here. So we've seen a couple of ideas here. We've got the the first one we did, which was the blue green one there, which again was built up using a number of different vignettes and which was built up using a number of different windows and qualifiers here, and then which actually works out quite nicely. Gives a bit more of a dusk sort of vibe at the moment, kind of early evening. And then we've got the other one, which is a little bit simpler, a little bit more straightforward. It still needs actually quite a bit of work and tweaking. It's a lot less subtle than the other one, but basically made up of a whole bunch of vignettes. I would also actually go in and make the side of the characters slightly different here and blend that in a little bit better. And we still have to do something with the sky as well there. But just working with the different vignettes and building them up and gives definitely a sort of a certain deeper look there, and hopefully you can see where we're coming from with that one. But if we take that first look here, which we've already got, and apply it to our other shot, so our car shot here, let's play that forward, Actually, you probably want to see the before shot first. Let's have a look at before. There's before and after. You can see that, you know, again, we've got something built up in the grade, but it's still missing that that final look, and it's the lights that really are missing here. So it's all about, you know, building up not just colors and not just shadows, but we actually have to work with lights as well, and that's something that really is best saved for the compositor. So if we pop into After Effects here, I've just spent, you know, five minutes adding in a few lights here, just tracking in a few lights, just to give it a bit of context, and you can start to see actually how well that starts to fit in addition to the grade, because it's not just about the colors, and it's not just about the shadows. It really is about the small touches, and the lighting plays such a huge role. Well, I hope you found that useful. Thanks for joining me again. My name's Ben Brownlee from Curious Turtle, and I will see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.